Hello there. Today I watched Somewhere in Queens, and now I want to tell you about it. So come on in, get comfy, and listen up. Somewhere in Queens is a comedy drama about a man named Leo and his family. Leo's life isn't what he'd hoped, so when his son gets a chance for a basketball scholarship, Leo is willing to do anything to help him get it. In the process, he tears his family apart. The film was written by, directed by, and stars Ray Romano as Leo Russo. It was co-written by Mark Stegeman and features Laurie Metcalf as Leo's wife, Angela, and Sebastian Maniscalco as Leo's brother, Frank. The film opens up by introducing us to Leo and his family at a big Italian wedding, and then takes us on a slow journey through the next few months of their lives. Leo is a contractor that works for his family's business. He takes orders from his father and his little brother, and neither of them respects him. That's because he's an idiot. He stumbles over his words, makes mistakes frequently, and finds different ways to screw everything up. His wife Angela is recovering from cancer and dealing with worries of it returning, and his son is a shy and unconfident boy that only seems to open up when he's playing basketball. When a scout sees his son play and offers to make some calls about a scholarship, Leo jumps at the chance and starts doing everything he can to convince his son and family to go along with it. There are lots of out-of-date references and funny situations, but mostly there's a heartfelt story about an idiot dad who loves his son and wants the best for him. This love, mixed with his natural inability to think, makes for a perfect storm. The story is consistent in tone and humor across the film, and it does a great job of being wholesome. The jokes tend to be a lot milder, either poking fun at Italian-American culture or at Leo for being an oaf. It does a good job of fleshing out Leo and his family and making them feel like normal people just living their lives. We learn a lot about the family's dynamics and how they interact, and we get a good idea of why Leo is the way he is. There's a bit of a lull in the middle of the film when you're waiting for everything to come crashing down, but apart from that section, the rest of the film is filled with drama that keeps things lively. By the end of the film, I found the story to be more sweet and wholesome than funny, but they do joke around a lot. Cast-wise, the screen time gets split fairly evenly between Ray Romano and Laurie Metcalf, with Jacob Ward and Sadie Stanley coming up close behind them. Romano's Leo is a nice person without a lot going on upstairs. It's made obvious by how he talks and what he chooses to say, but Romano manages to make him into a lovable idiot. You can see the good intentions pouring out of him even when he makes mistakes, and the few times where he's called to give an emotional speech, he nails it. He almost had me in tears during one scene where he was talking to Danny about his son. Laurie Metcalf plays an older married woman who's worried about the time she has left with her family and trying to keep her slightly dysfunctional family together. She's gruff on the outside but has a lot of love in her heart. She deals with the fear of her character's situation well and does a great job of fleshing out all of the nuances of that fear. Jacob Ward and Sadie Stanley don't get as much agency within the story as Romano and Metcalf, but the two of them do a great job of portraying their characters' emotions. Ward plays Leo's son Styx. He's up for a scholarship, but he isn't sure where he wants to go in life, and he's dealing with immense pressure from his dad. Stanley plays Styx's new girlfriend, Danny. She's having fun with Styx at first, but ends up staying in the relationship for less than honorable reasons. Stanley does an incredible job of playing a woman whose emotions are torn up by her actions and reacting to the situation. Four of them with the supporting cast create an emotional tale with a great message at the heart of it. Visually, the film is simple with a lot of down-to-earth sets, costumes, and shots. The film is made up of a basic drama-style back-and-forth editing, and it spends a lot of time focused on the actors as they speak and a little bit of time focusing on capturing their emotions within the space. There aren't any big visual gags, spectacles, or events, but there is a nice basketball game at the beginning. I'm not a big fan of sports in general, but the film managed to get me invested in the outcome of the game through the story, and they did a good job of making the last moments highly impactful. Sound-wise, the film uses a very subtle soundtrack that's mostly made up of background instrumentals. They're great at eliciting emotion and pulling it out of the scenery, and the film uses its tracks to maximum effect. You only hear music during highly emotional moments or during transitions, and the rest of the time it's ambient noise only. The music comes in softly and never overpowers the dialogue, but almost always fits perfectly with the mood. There are a couple of times where the actors are giving a big speech, and the mushy music comes in behind, and it leads to incredibly moving scenes. Overall, Somewhere in Queens is a surprisingly wholesome story about how a guy tried to keep everything perfect so his son could get a scholarship, and how it all blew up in his face. The cast does a great job with the emotions, the visual journey is clean and simple, and the soundtrack is well used. It could have been a bit funnier, but the deep emotional parts more than made up for the lack of humor. It didn't try anything new, but it was a good film. 7 out of 10. And remember, those are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Bye-bye!